Good afternoon, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update for November 16, 2023. And in the news this afternoon, man pleads guilty to murders, shootings and robberies in Manchester. A suspect who was charged in connection with several murders, shootings and robberies in Manchester has pleaded guilty to 13 counts. DeAndre Grant, 21, pleaded guilty Tuesday before the Home Circuit Court. Grant of Belfield District, Manchester, and the Canaan Heights Mepen Clarendon pleaded guilty to 2 counts of murder, 2 counts of wounding with intent, 3 counts of assault with intent to rob, and 6 counts of making use of a firearm to commit a felony. He is to be sentenced on December 7. Grant was captured on August 2 during a major police operation in Westmoreland. This followed the Manchester police listing him as the parish's most wanted fugitive. Grant had been implicated in the murder of 21-year-old Sunil Mushet, otherwise called Shine, a construction worker of Comfort District, Manchester, on December 8, 2022. The police say Grant is also charged in relation to the attempted armed robbery of 2 security guards at a plaza in Mandeville on March 6. Diplomatic guards at the U.S. Embassy back on the job. The more than 200 diplomatic guards assigned to the U.S. Embassy in Kingston, who took strike action Tuesday, have returned to work. The guards, who are represented by the Union of Clerical, Administrative, and Supervisory Employees, stayed off the job Tuesday to protest the breakdown in wage negotiations. UK's and the G4S Guardsman joint venture, which includes the Washington-based G4S Guardsman and the Guardsman Group, have been in negotiations since July. UK's President Vincent Morrison told the news that the guards resumed duties Wednesday morning following a back-to-work order from the Ministry of Labour.
That's the Ministry of Labour at a meeting under the chairmanship of Mr. Michael Kennedy yesterday afternoon, and arising out of those discussions, those deliberations at the Ministry, Conciliation Services at the Ministry, they've instructed the guards to resume normality, and they have in fact resumed full normality, starting on the 7 a.m. shift this morning. As a result, we'll be having a meeting with the company, that G4S Guardsman, JV, at 10 o'clock on Friday morning to continue the negotiation. It is hoped that common sense will prevail and that, we'll be able to forge an agreement on behalf of the 210 security guards.
The UK's president explained that Guardsman Group, which has a 5-year contract with the embassy, has offered the guards 10% in the first year, 0% in the second, and 5% each over the remaining 3 years. The offer in year 2 was adjusted to a lump sum payment of $150,000 during a wage negotiation meeting Monday night, but Mr. Morrison said that the guards rejected that offer. NCDA to publicize the report on new psychoactive substances targeted at the children. The National Council on Drug Abuse says a survey has found new psychoactive substances that are being introduced to children, and the findings will soon be shared with the public. Director of Client Services at the NCDA, Colette Curlew, says that the agency is concerned about the targeting of children for emerging drugs and more children consuming the substances. Ms. Curlew says that the last national survey in 2016 found that the popular substances were alcohol, followed by cannabis, cigarettes, and emerging drugs. She says there are additions to the list of substances.
What we find happening now, and I guess because of internet, because of the music, because of what's available out there, we find other new psychoactive substances coming up. And what is alarming is that our children are being impacted by it. So we are very concerned about the children. We've been doing more and getting more information out there through the public education campaign. We have drug-free lifestyle trending, and you'll see it on my back. So we want that to trend. Today, you would have heard us telling the children when anybody comes to you with substance, says you tell them back. So we want children now to be empowered to resist taking drugs, buying drugs, and to influence their peers.
Transport Authority yet to call in cops to probe a $600,000 taxi scam. Managing Director of the Transport Authority, Ralston Smith, has deemed the far-fetched claims that the route taxi operators have had to fork out as much as $600,000 to obtain a route taxi license. The Transport Authority charges $15,000 for that license. It is easy to get. You can walk off the road, enter a taxi association right now, put that application in. If you want the license within 24 hours, you pay an additional $5,000, and if you want it within 3 days, you pay an additional $3,000. There is absolutely no incentive to pay that amount to get that type of license, none at all, Smith said as he responded to queries on the matter by opposition member Maurice Guy during Tuesday's meeting of Parliament's Public Accounts Committee. According to Smith, the route taxi license is open and therefore there is no benefit in trying to go anywhere else to get it. He noted that all is required is that the applicant becomes a member of a taxi association. So once you join the association and you pay your membership fee, and it's for a year and for the most part, the associations charge $6,000 for a year of membership, added Smith as he argued that the mention of $600,000 would have more to do with the cost of insuring the vehicle than to pay for that type of license. Guy was zoning in on an allegation that members of the TA are still selling Hackney carriage license despite having been publicly closed off since 2018, which is contained in a special audit report into its operation by the Auditor General's Department. Smith told the PAC that the perception of corruption in relation to the sale of Hackney carriage license may be as a result of the middleman created by taxi associations. For the most part, the Hackney carriage operators are aligned to taxi companies and different organizations, and what we hear on the outside is that what we have been touted as a corruption may be related to that side of the arrangement when they have to go to a middleman to get a license, said Smith. He, however, admitted when pressed by Guy that the TA does not know whether this act of corruption is being done on the outside or if members of its staff are involved. That is one of the things we would want to get to, as whether or not there is a scheme on the outside or whether or not there are persons within the organization itself that would be part and parcel of this whole arrangement, he said. In the audit report, Auditor General Pamela Monroe Ellis said that the allegations regarding Hackney carriage license were not pursued given the size of the Hackney operations or limited resources, and the fact that the allegation would be better investigated by an anti-corruption agency with the powers to prosecute. PAC Chairman Julian Robinson asked if the TA has engaged either the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency, or any other entity to investigate these allegations, being that it is outside the scope of the Auditor General. In his response, Smith said the authority has not engaged any of those entities to look into the matter. But I am certain that it is something down the road that we are prepared to ensure that our processes are above board, added Smith, as he pointed out that he is inviting any anti-corruption agency that can assist in getting to the bottom of this challenge to do so. 17-year-old charged in connection with armed robbery of taxi driver. A 17-year-old student of Gresham Avenue in Kingston has been charged following his involvement in the alleged armed robbery and assault of a taxi operator in his community on Saturday, August 5. The student has been charged with robbery with aggravation and a conspiracy to robbery with aggravation. Reports from the police are that about 3:30 a.m., the taxi operator received a request from a passenger to be picked up and transported from South Camp Road to Halfway Tree. On his arrival at the location, two women who identified themselves as the callers requested his help to put items in the trunk. While in the process of doing so, the taxi operator was pounced upon by the teen and the four men who were armed with handguns and machetes. They proceeded to inflict multiple chop wounds on his body, after which they robbed him of his motor car, cash, a cell phone, and other personal items. The man managed to escape further injury and reported the matter to the police. He was assisted to the hospital where he was treated. The teen was taken to the station by his parent on Thursday, November 2, and was positively recognized during an identification parade. He was subsequently charged on Tuesday, November 14. His court date is being finalized.